ever. He is the worst president in all of American history.
I never said that on the record, but it certainly got out.
It got out.
Yes. I think that there's a room for improvement.
You can't really blame him if you're calling him the worst president for him saying, you know what, I'm not going to call him.
Oh, I agree with you.
So what do you think?
I wasn't surprised that he didn't call on me.
What do you think happened today? Why do you think? I know you were in the Gridiron. I was at that dinner, and you did a nice performance, skits, and you were, satirical skits on the president, the vice president, and everybody else. And you did an excellent job, as you always do, singing and dancing. But what happened? What do you think happened?
I think we smoked the peace pipe. I think that there's a different rapport now, which is good.
Did you talk to him privately or something? Did you meet him?
No, not really, but I sort of felt bad for the things that I had said that were not supposed to be transmitted. I sort of apologized.
You did, all right. So he called on you today.
And very nice of him to call on me.
And you asked him a tough question. Did you accept his answer, namely that he didn't come into the presidency believing he was going to go to war against Saddam Hussein, but after 9/11, his worldview changed?
It doesn't parse. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. It certainly it was secular. It was not tied to al-Qaeda. I think he wanted to go into Iraq, but he had all the neoconservatives advising at the top of their agenda for Project for a New American Century. First Iraq, then Iran, and then Syria, then Iran, and so forth.
So you believe even before 9/11, he wanted to take out Saddam Hussein?
Oh, I think this is very clear. You couldn't sit in that press room day after day. Every time it was mentioned by Ari Fleischer or Scott, they would say in one breath, 9/11 Saddam Hussein, 9/11 Saddam Hussein. I don't blame the American people for thinking there was a tie.
So you didn't accept his answer today. You think, he was still spinning? Is that what you're suggesting?
It wasn't that. I think maybe in his own mind he didn't, but I think that everybody knows, everybody who was in the know knows that Iraq was on target. It was on the radar screen from the moment he came into office. Treasury Secretary says that, people in CIA say it, and so forth. Nothing would deter him. It was a very big goal. You're
thinking of Paul O'Neill, the former Treasury Secretary,
yes.
Richard Clarke, who was one of the counterterrorist advisors who have made those kinds of suggestions. Let's get back to this issue, being the worst president ever. And you covered a lot of presidents, going back to President Kennedy. Worse than Richard Nixon?
Well, I think what this president has done is really strike a match to the tinderbox that we all know is the Middle East. And I think that Nixon's crime, so-called, was the abuse of government power. In this case, in the case of the president and his cohorts, I think they have really spread war throughout the Middle East. They have really encouraged all of the horror that's going on. We have killed so many innocent people.
But you can't forget 9/11, 3,000 people
But the Iraqis
killed.
Didn't do it. I mean, how can you go, why don't you go bomb some other country? I mean, if you have no reason. This is, I don't believe in preemptive war, and it certainly is against international law. It's against the UN Charter, it's against Geneva, and it's against Nuremberg.
Tell our viewers who, as I said earlier, have grown up with you, Helen, what you're up to nowadays, how you feel, what your goals are right now.
My goals are to seek the truth wherever it leads me. And I do think that's the goal of journalists, and I think we fell down on the job.
The news media in general, that we weren't what?
Come back. All is forgiven.
You're going to forgive us? You're part of the news media too. We sat in those briefings for a long time together, and Helen, I hope you're around.
You asked very tough questions.
Well, I'm trying to do the best I can, like you.
You asked President Clinton why he wouldn't resign.
I asked him some tough questions, but that's another time, and this is another story. Right now, it's always good to have you here, especially in the Situation Room, Helen. And we hope you're asking many presidents down the road tough questions to come. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for all your excellent work over these years as a fellow journalist.
It's very kind.
Thank you.